Hello everyone, in this video we'll talk about how to play the board game called CASHFLOW 101. So first of all, what is this CASHFLOW 101 game? The CASHFLOW board game was designed by Mr. Kiyosaki, the author of the famous book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The book was a great book on investment education, and the CASHFLOW board game was designed with the same principle to help players to gain more hands-on experience. There have been several editions released in the past. For example, there are 2008 and 2020 editions of the CASHFLOW game 101, and there's also CASHFLOW 202, which adds advanced topics like stock options. Each has some differences in between, and 202 is like an extension pack to 101. And in this series of videos, we will focus on the 2020 edition of CASHFLOW 101. So, let's start with some key game concepts. The first is about active versus passive income. Generally, when we work at a regular job, either as a teacher, a driver, an engineer, or a janitor, we get paid based on the work we did. If we don't work or go on a vacation, we don't get paid. So for this type of income, we have to actively work to earn it. It's considered active income in this sense. On the other hand, let's say you write a good book and sell it, especially as an ebook. When people buy your book, you get paid. That income happens even when you are sleeping or on vacation or retired, so it is considered passive as it is no longer tightly dependent on your work efforts. Yes, you need to do some work first to create this income stream, but after that, it is generally just small maintenance. So why is this passive income important? Because number one, active income requires your real work all the time and therefore is limited to your total time and energy. But passive income is not and can potentially be scaled up by a lot. Number two, your passive income gives you freedom and choices, and you don't have to worry so much about losing your daily job, or can even entirely quit it as you wish. Other examples include collecting rent as a landlord, or running a business like a laundromat by hiring employees to manage it for you. So the next concept is about the notion of rat race. Essentially, every player starts in the rat race. That is when people are dependent on the paychecks from their daily job to pay those bills. It's a rat race because people are constantly in this loop of working, getting paycheck, and pay bills. It makes you entirely dependent on other people, and it completely shuts off your mind from other possibilities and ways of living and thriving in the world. There's no real freedom because you cannot afford losing your daily job. That is also where most ordinary people stay in real life. The Rich Dad Poor Dad book and the CASHFLOW game are to challenge us to break out of this rat race and enter the fast track, our third concept. So what is a fast track? The moment you get out of the rat race, you have financial freedom. You don't need your daily job anymore. You have proved your skills to create passive income, and now you can move forward to create even more passive income in a faster way with the skills and assets you have already built up. You unlock new possibilities and ways of living, and eventually you will accumulate wealth that you never thought of in the past, and be able to fulfill a great dream that you have visualized for long. And that is when you win the game. So to summarize, the basic way to play and win the game is: first, start with that rat race and pick a dream. Then build up passive income by investing and pay off debts until your passive income can cover all your expenses. Then keep investing in the fast track until you meet one of the two conditions. One is to successfully fulfill the dream you have chosen, which in this game is represented by a price tag. The other is your passive income increases by 50K since you moved to the fast track. When you hit one of these two, you win. Okay, now we are done with the key concepts of the game. We will dive deeper into the gameplay text. Can you play this game alone to get more practice? Yes, you can, but normally it is for a group and it is much more fun that way. Also, when you have a group playing this game, the player next to you would be your auditor to verify that you get your math right with the moves. Here is how the board looks like. It has 2 loops, one for the rat race and one for the fast track. Let's get started with the rat race. Every player starts with a rat race because your passive income would be 0 at the beginning. To find out your exact financial situation in this game, you need to first pick a profession. A profession is essentially a role that you play with, and each profession is different. Some may have a higher salary, some may have higher savings to start with, and some may have lower expenses or debts. It is highly recommended that you play with different professions to challenge your skills in different financial situations. Anyway, after you pick your profession, you put your little rat token at the start position and collect the salary income from the bank. Then everyone also picks a dream and puts a little cheese token on it. Then each player rolls a die once, and the one with the highest number moves first. And now the game starts. Each player will take turns to roll a die and move clockwise according to the die result. Then you take action according to the space that you land on. These are the actions in a rat race. Deals. This is where you can draw a card from the deals card deck and see what deal is available to you. You don't have to take it, but it is your investment opportunity. You can choose the small deal deck or the big deal deck, and they differ mainly on how expensive the deal is. A big deal in this game edition costs 6,000 or more. Of course, usually big deals carry potentially bigger returns and also higher risks. A typical deal looks like this. It's usually an opportunity to acquire or sell a specific asset, and you need to assess whether it is a good deal for you. Like in this example, the stock price is at the lowest point of its trading range, so it may be a good opportunity to buy. The card often also states who can take this opportunity, and some are only for the player who drew the card, and some are available to all. Or if you don't want to take it and the card also allows it, you may also sell the card to another player at the price that you two agree on, and that other player can take the opportunity instead. There are a lot of details about different types of deals, so we won't discuss too much in this video, and we will have a more thorough discussion in our next video. But won't investments go through market events when you are holding them? Well, that is our next action. Market. This is essentially when you are reacting to market events after you acquire certain assets. Examples include a major housing market change, a profit change in your business, and so on. Again, we will cover the details in our next video and keep this video focused on the basics, like some events related with expenses, for example, due dates. In this game, due dates means some unexpected mandatory spending. For example, a gift for someone's birthday or an emergency repair. Simply put, when you land on this, you lose some money. That is why it is very important to reserve some emergency funds at any time. Baby. Well, this is definitely a moment to celebrate in real life, but in this game financially, it means your regular expenses will go up. The additional expense is the amount of per child expense in your profession's description. Of course, you won't expect unlimited children. Once you have 3 children, it never increases again when you hit this again next time. Payday! This is really an important one in that rat race because this is when you receive your regular salary and also pay your expenses. In this game, this payday is considered monthly. On this day, you receive cash from bank equal to your monthly cash flow, but if your monthly cash flow is negative, you have to pay the bank the difference. One important note is that you do not have to land on this to trigger the payday event. If you move past it, you still trigger the payday event. Another important note is that the game made it clear that you have to explicitly declare payday to collect your salary. If you forget to do so before the next player moves, you lose the opportunity. This is to emphasize that the payday salary is an active income and you also have to actively collect your earnings. A third note is that when you get to the payday, if your monthly cash flow is negative and your cash is not sufficient to cover expenses, you will go bankrupt. When you go bankrupt, you will have to resolve it immediately or you will lose the game. To resolve it, you must sell your assets and only get half of your down payment back and use that money to pay off your debts until your monthly cash flow is back to positive. So for example, if you have two houses like this, you can choose to sell this one and get half of its down payment back, which is $10,000, pay off your credit card loan, and get your monthly cash flow back to positive. Charity. This gives you an opportunity to donate 10% of your current cash. In return, you will be able to choose to use either 1 or 2 dice in your next 3 turns, which potentially gives you options to move faster to reach payday, or sometimes gain a higher chance to avoid certain unwanted actions. For example, this one. Downsized. This is a sad moment. It is when you lose your regular job, but your expenses don't go away. As a result, you will have to immediately pay for the expenses and at the same time lose 2 turns to simulate the time spent to find a new job. After those 2 turns, you can move as usual. But one note is that if you were enjoying the choice of 1 or 2 dice brought by your charity donation, that ends here as well. So these are all the actions on the rat race game board. But there are also 2 additional actions you can take at any time without waiting for your turn. The first action is to take out a loan. You can take out a loan to fund your investment or pay for due debts if you are short on cash, on increments of 1,000. But the loan would charge you 10% interest each time you get to payday. This is really not cheap, so I would generally recommend you only take out the amount you need. The only action is to pay off debts. This includes the debts that you have from your profession descriptions, mainly home mortgage, credit card debt, and so on, and also whatever loan you have taken out. By paying off the debt, you can also get rid of the corresponding expenses and improve your cash flow. But note that in this game, you cannot pay off just a portion of your debt unless it is a loan. For most debts, you have to pay off the full amount all at once. For loans that you took out earlier, you can pay off in the increments of 1,000 and adjust the interest expense accordingly. Also note that in this game, you are not supposed to pay off liabilities brought by your investment assets. They are considered leverages instead to help you scale up your investment scope faster. Now we have covered those actions in the rat race. It can be a bit overwhelming to you, so I would recommend you get your hands dirty and try those out, and that is the easiest way to get familiar. If you are tired of all these hand calculations or find it challenging to write on those paper balance sheets, you can also use helper apps to do it digitally. If you have an Android phone, we have an app, CASHFLOW Assist, on Google Play Store that will take care of all the calculations for you and streamline your game experience. Feel free to try it out. Okay, after you invest for a while, you could accumulate more assets under your name and gradually increase your monthly passive income. And when the passive income, attention, not your cash flow, but only the passive income part, when this number is no less than your expense amount, congratulations, you have broken out of the rat race and will upgrade to the fast track. A fast track is a mode awarded to people who have proven their financial skills by getting out of the rat race. Because the skills are already proven, the game would accelerate your progress by increasing your monthly passive income by 100 times. Your starting cash balance will be changed to the new monthly passive income, and all the actions in the rat race no longer apply to you. All the assets or liability you had in the rat race also go away because now you can invest in bigger things, that is, run big businesses. In this fast track mode, you will have new actions. Cash flow day. This is similar to the payday, except that you get the new cash flow amount as a payment. Also, as this is completely passive income, you don't have to explicitly declare cash flow day to collect it. Charity. This is also similar to the charity in the rat race mode, but this time it is a 100,000 fixed amount. Also, once you donate, you will be able to choose from 1 to 3 dice each turn for all your remaining turns. Businesses. When you land on these actions, you can choose to invest in the business displayed. This is similar to buying assets in the rat race, but these businesses have higher returns. Here CF means cash flow, and CCR means cash on cash return, which is typically 1 year's cash flow versus a down payment. Lawsuit, tax audit, divorce. These are unfortunate events that will reduce your cash balance. Lawsuit and tax audit will cost you half of your total cash, and divorce will cost you all your cash. That sounds a lot, right? But you are in the fast track. Since you won't lose any of your businesses or passive income stream, you will quickly rebuild your wealth again. Dreams. If you land on the dreams that you chose at the beginning of the game, you can fulfill it by paying for the listed cost and you win the game. You can still purchase a dream if it is not the initially selected one, as we can all have multiple dreams. But to win, you need to get that initial dream fulfilled. It also will not affect other players from going for the same dream. Of course, even if you don't purchase a dream, if your businesses are so successful that you eventually increase your total passive income by another 50K since you started the fast track, you also win. These are the 2 possible winning conditions of the game. Okay, now we have finished the basics of the game, and in our next video, we will talk about more details about assets and liabilities. If you have any comments or questions about this video, feel free to leave a comment, and discussions are welcome. The game manual from the game itself does not cover a number of edge cases, and that's why the company also released a list of Q&As in their official website. Check that out too.